Uh-oh. Can we see? All right. Can you hear me? I don't know. Hello, hello, hello. I don't know. Let's see here. I'm trying to go live. Let's see here. Bummer. I don't know. Yeah. Let's see here. Get this higher. Let's see here. This isn't very good quality. Are you there? Anybody out there? I don't know. Hey, I'm sorry. Welcome back, Margaritas in Paradise. We do have a good day, and I'm trying this on my computer to give me more options, but I think my phone is the way to go because I don't like the picture quality as well as I do the phone. You're going to have to tell me, can you hear me okay or not? Let me see here. All right, good. All right, so let me see here. Let's start out with Mike. He asked this right away. How's the picture? This picture doesn't look very good to me. But this it's supposed to be 4K, but it looks pretty dark to me as far as I'm concerned. Fuzzy. Yeah. Let me try to wipe that off. Okay, I'm going to cover the lens and try to clean it better. Yeah, maybe that's better. It's still, I need more light in here, I think, for using this camera. But anyway, so let's cover with Mike. Mike asked about or Big Slick asked about condos around here, and I was just over at my buddy Tim's condo is Arum, and which is, let's see here. I don't know if you can see it very good. Now I have a video coming out on that. That's this one right here. It's AROM, and it's like the new luxury condo. And Tim has a condo over there up on the 49th floor, and we did a video on that. And that may end up coming out tonight. I'm not sure if I get it done or not. You know, now on the Wongamat Beach area on Soy 16, that's going to be the first one is Arum. And then this one right there, that's Park Beach. And Park Beach I really like. It's an older building, but it's got some great rooms in it. Every room has a sea view. Okay. And then this building here, I guess you can't really see everything because of my balcony here. But let me see here. I'm sorry about my quality of the picture because I'm just learning this camera. But so this is Wongamat Tower right here. That's directly in front of me. And then right next to Wongamat Tower there, right there, is Silver Beach. And that's kind of a luxury place too. It has a lot of 100+ square meter rooms. Everything in there is big rooms. And then the one right next to that right there is Siam Penthouse 3. It's the oldest building out here, but it has some really great rooms in it as well. And then, let's see here. Well, you can't see. And then let's see here if we can get out there further. The next one, I can't see it from here. But so the next one, So the next one would have been Palm, and I can't see that from here. And the Wongamat Palm's a really great building. Uh, Somebody's calling me. So anyway, um, come on, man. All right, hang on a minute here. Okay. Hang on a minute. I have to send somebody a message and let them know I can't talk to them right now. He's going to keep calling me back. I'm doing a live stream right now. I can't talk to you. Okay. Anyway, so, and Brian has a place over here at Park Beach as well. So that doesn't really matter. He's in the U.S. and he's coming back right away. So let's see here. See here, we got, okay, fuzzy, better. Man, I'm sorry about that, Marty. And hopefully the picture's getting better. It looks better now than it did. But I have to work on lighting, I think. Maybe I'll just go back to the phone for the next live stream. Okay, so one of the other things I was going to mention, I keep getting people ask me about bar business, and everybody wants to open a bar, right? Okay, that's kind of the thing. That's probably one of the number one questions people ask me. And besides nightlife, budget, um, they ask about the bar I had before, and if you ask any seasoned bar owner here, I guarantee you they're gonna frown on it because they've seen so many people lose money over the last 20 years. And a good example, when we were thinking about opening up a bar, I went and talked to, you probably know who Adam Neal is. He goes by Hammer on a lot of the forums, and he owns Cherry Bar over on Soy Diana. He also was down on Soy 8 as well, and he's an English guy. I think he's from London. I think. Anyway, good guy to have as a mentor, right? And so he was strictly against. He'll tell you straight up. If you ever go talk to him, and he'll say, there's 20,000 bars here in the Pattaya area, and that's exactly what this place needs is one more bar. And it's like a massage shop. They throw up bars in every little corner, and most people lose their shirt. They lose their money when it comes to opening a bar around here. So you really have to have something special. You have to have somebody that's dedicated to social media to bring in his friends, and his friends have to bring in their friends. Yeah, does that make sense? You know where I'm going. You have to have somebody like Marty or Captain Gyro on here. Okay, he's a world traveler. He has thousands of friends. And anyway, and he gets everybody excited every time he talks, right? So, but anyway, yeah, that's what you need you need somebody like that. Now, hey, I wanted to mention real quick here. I'm going to turn the camera around, let you look at Pattaya Bay. The colors are great right now, and I know Captain Gyro, he's going to love this. He likes the bluebird skies. My hands are a little shaky, but really nice out today. I got some close-up pictures. It really looks good. So anyway, back to the bar stuff here. So I don't recommend getting into the bar business. Okay, but I know it's hard to give people advice about things like this because everybody has to make their own mistakes, right? And especially a young guy will come over here and they think they can do this, they can live the bar life, but the way it normally goes is, you can't, just because you own a bar, most guys don't go with the girls in their bars, because there's a respect thing, it's integrity. You have to take care of that type of thing. I mean, it's really you have to walk that line when you have a bar. And most bars, like right now, these guys like my brother Doug and Tim and the guys that are here in town, Rob, they'll tell you that. Well, Rob's not here right now, but anyway, they'll tell you how dead the bars really are right now. And there's only certain places, if you go to Billabong or Witherspoons or certain places that have any customers at all, So overall, we have our normal tourists in town right now, but it's low season, and low season really takes place for like 8 months out of the year. So high season's like 4 months, right? And during that 4 months, that's where you have to make all your money. You have to make your key money, your salary, everything that goes into play to having a bar. Does that make sense? So, and right now, unless you have money to burn to just throw into a bar, then it's going to be very, very hard keeping a bar going. Especially if you're like Neil Dean or something like that, or Mac TV or those guys there, they have their niche, okay, and they do really good. I mean, those are the guys to pattern your bar off of, you know what I mean? But when you have these little bitty bars all over town that don't have anything special, and all the girls that are in there are big girls. And don't get me wrong, there's lots of people that like big girls, but the places that have the better looking girls are going to get more customers, and they're going to get the customers that are going to spend more money, right? And the main thing is, it's not necessarily the girls. You want customers that come in, and no bar wants a customer that comes in and nurses a bottle of water all night long. Okay, they want somebody to come in and drink all night long. They want customers that come in and buy drinks for the girls. So they're not necessarily going for the customers that are living here on a budget, that understand that they just can't give away their money, that type of thing. They're after the guys that are here that are the 2-week millionaires or the 1 month millionaire, the guys that are just spending money left and right. And so that's the big thing. Okay, it's for me, when it came to opening a bar, I was married at the time to Nikki. Okay, and we've talked about her in the past. And in all honesty, so Nikki is a bar girl. Took her out of the bar, and she always said that she never wanted to come back to Pattaya, but I wanted to come back to Pattaya. This is where I planned on living, and so she was trying to figure out what she's going to do in Pattaya. And in all honesty, the idea of having a bar was there, but it wasn't a strong idea because I knew there was better ways to make money here than having a bar. But for her, as an ex-bar girl, you can take the girl out of the bar, but you never take the bar out of the girl. I think that really holds true. So she saw a chance, and so we were in Chicago, or just outside of Chicago, Illinois, out on a highway, and Nikki was talking to her ex-boss that owned a restaurant in Pattaya. And I had said many times that this restaurant would make an excellent bar location because it was surrounded by restaurants, and there wasn't that many bars around it. But there was a lot of customers right there all the time. And in my head, the idea in my head was I wanted to call it bikinis if I was going to have a bar, girls wearing bikini tops, hot shorts, having free pool. And because I was in a family area, I wanted it not to be directed necessarily at only guys, but families. So if mom and dad and the kids came out of the restaurant, they could come in and they could play pool and have reasonable drinks, that sort of thing. And so we ended up buying this restaurant from Nikki's ex-boss, is the way it worked out. Okay. And within within 2 or 3 days, Nikki was on an airplane back here, and we started renovating. And within, let's say, a month or so, I was back here as well. And within a month, we were open for business. So we turned this restaurant into a bar, and we got really lucky. And so I was really fortunate to have friends like you, okay, and family, my core group of guys, the guys I talked about, and all their friends, and then guys like Adam Neal and back then Martin from FLB and all them guys, and we had these big forums back then, Secrets and Pattaya Forum and all that, and so everybody came to my bar, and I was really lucky, and I made some money. Okay, but most people don't work like that. I was lucky that I made all my money back like in the first 6 months, but most people lose it. I mean, I was just lucky. There's, when you have staff, your staff always has problems. And the guys that have been here for a long time, how many times has a girl called you up and asked you for money? Okay. How often? I mean, to me, that happens to me every day. People call and ask me for, girls call up, oh, Tom, blah, blah, blah. The buffalo's sick, whatever the story may be. It's not the buffalo, but it's, their daughter is in the hospital, and they have school, they have whatever the thing is, and everybody needs money, right? And I get that every day. I mean, in Pattaya, living here, I'm just like any of the other guys that have a small list of people on my line account. The small list that's just massive. Every day I add a few more to it, right? And with that being said, people that I haven't seen in years, maybe, they ask me for money. And that's what's going to happen in the bar business. You're going to have staff that's working for you that maybe needs to get paid early, that type of thing. And then the turnover rate with staff, that's the hardest thing. You have to have I was lucky. I had a great Mama-san manager that had access to girls all the time. But a lot of bars don't do that. They have, the owner tries to come in and act as the manager. And I'll tell you what, the long managers are good if they are good at networking, okay, and bringing in customers. But as far as running the staff, no Thais want to work for you, okay? They want to work for another Thai that knows what they're doing, that's taking care of them, and that's the reason why it's so important to have a really great manager. And another thing is I have friends here, and I'm not going to throw names out there of people that own bars, but I always said that you could, in my business in the U.S., it was all about selling. And I always talk about you can't sell from an empty wagon. Um, but a lot of bars, um, there's a bar locally here that we go into, and the beer coolers like 90% empty all the time, right? And it's because they can't afford to restock the beer. But on one night you could have a bunch of customers come in out of the blue, and all of a sudden you're out of beer. And it doesn't make any sense how a bar can survive. If you walk in and say, "Hey, give me a screwdriver, vodka, and orange juice." Oh, well, we're out of orange juice. How can bars survive being out of orange juice or vodka for that matter? It's like it's crazy. But there's a lot of bars that are in those predicaments right now in the Pattaya area. So, uh, the pros of owning a bar here, um, the social factor and making money, that's there. And do all bars make money? No. A lot of bars have to struggle with rent. When I had my bar, it was 27,000 baht a month was what my rent was. Okay, and I was on a third level lease. So the original landlord leased out the property like 30 years ago to one person that subleased the property to another person that subleased the property to me. Okay. And that's the way a lot of places are here in Pattaya. There's a parent company like CNP or the Patong family or something like that owns a lot of the property here in Pattaya. But they sublease to these project managers basically. And the project managers, depending on the market, will sublease them again to another company, an investment company of some sort or another that turns it over to a brokerage company that rents it to you. All right. So that's what you're dealing with. And you're talking about key money. A lot of places are going to, if your business is doing good, it's going to be noted that you can afford more key money. And that's the way it works. Okay. And then you go a step further into people that want to, the local authorities. If they see you doing good, if you're having parties once a week and you need access to the road space to put a live music up in front, you need to be able to pay a special tax. So public affairs is going to come in and they're going to figure out what your property is worth and how much the suggested amount is that you donate. Okay. And then there's going to be when it comes down to it, there's going to be a certain amount of people that are going to show up at your bar once a week or once a month or whatever. And they're going to run the bill up sky high, but it's all going to be on the house. It's going to be 100% comped. Okay. And so I don't want to make this sound bad, and I don't want to throw out who these people are live because I don't want to be held liable for that. But this happens all the time. Yeah. So and other bar owners are going to take advantage of you when you're in this business. Okay. Unless you're within a franchise type place where one bar owns like 6 or 7 other bars, all the other bars are your competition, and it's cutthroat. It's stab you in the back. It's coming in and talking to your best girls and getting them to go down to their bar. So people are stealing what you have all the time. They may be as subtle as coming in and potentially bar finding your staff, okay, taking them out to eat or whatever else and making an offer there, and the staff never returns. So your staff turnover is a major deal. But does this make sense? I hope this makes sense to you. I would never recommend to my best friend. I mean, you really have to have its location for a new bar, and you have to be really good at what you do as far as like social media is concerned. Um, yeah, and you have to have a lot of friends. You know, you need to be that talker, the guy that's out every night, and you have to have a fantastic staff, um, a mama-san that's going to take care of you, because as a Falong, uh, you're already I don't know, you're already in a bad way. I mean, the only thing you represent is the money, the initial investment. Okay, but and if the bar's struggling the entire time, if it's not making money, you're the person that keeps putting your money into the bar to keep it afloat. But most bars where it's not supporting itself don't last, you know, and you can get around and talk to any bar manager or bar owner that you want. There's a lot of struggling bars out there, you know. So, all right. Hopefully that made sense to you. Let me see what kind of questions we have here. Um, yeah, there's many different. Let's see here. Let me see where we're at. Didn't you tell the motorbike people where you're going to live? I don't understand what you mean by that. Let's see. How to become a millionaire in Pattaya. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. How do you become a millionaire in Pattaya? You come here with 2 million. After a year, you're a millionaire. Okay, with 1 million. That's the old joke for sure. Uh, yeah, you know, I've been over there by. Let's see here. What's Max Bar over there? Delusion, is it? I think so. Yeah. And I haven't been in there yet, but I've been outside it and I've been talking to these guys. I think, yeah, he's got a. I like the look of that bar. You know, I'm all about modern, and I like the the lights and that type of stuff, the LED. You know, the money that they're spending on that type of stuff is fantastic in my book. And but I've heard comments people that don't like that. You know, the strobe effect. They don't like that. So a lot of old guys. You know, I have some friends of mine that they don't like that in your face type of look. But I think Max Bar over there, in all honesty, it's not super loud. You can go in there and talk, and they have good pool tables, and the staff's nice. And but I don't frequent the place. I don't have enough time. Number one, to frequent a lot of places, right? Yeah. So, but I would definitely. I mean, you definitely have to check out all these places. Um, let's see here. I think you have two types of tourists in Pattaya: the ones that come from out of country and the ones that come for the weekend from Bangkok. Yeah, well, that's a fact, you know. So there's a lot of people that come down here for 2 or 3 days from Bangkok, and there's a lot of condos that are here that are owned by those people as well. So it's amazing that, like Aram right now, I don't know what their percentage of residents that are in there, but I bet it's around 30%. Most of the place is pretty empty, and but all the places are like that except for my building. My building is so everybody asks where I live. I'll tell you, it's Wongamat Beach condo, and it's directly between Wongamat Towers here and Park Beach condos. My building's at about 76% um, vacant, or not vacancy, of residency. Okay. And the nice thing about my building now, don't get me wrong, my building's like 36 years old, but you got a guy like me that's on the committee. And so we're making sure this building stays really nice. We're within about 2 weeks of a brand new fitness center that we spent a lot of money on, and it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait for that to be. I'm probably do a video on that. But you know, I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Let's see here. So there's my swimming pool down there. Okay. And yeah, so there's Park Beach again, and there's Wongamat Towers. My building, let's see here, shake, shake, shake. My building, you know, it's at 24/7 security. We have a full-time staff. We have 24/7 maintenance on, you know, so if you have a water leak in the middle of the night or something like that, we have people here to take care of that. We have underground parking, we have outside parking, and we have covered parking. Parking's always going to be a problem with condos in general because most condos don't guarantee you a spot. It's kind of first come, first serve. So that's always something to double check, especially in the Pattaya area. Parking's at a premium in the Pattaya area. So I had a condo over there between 4 and 5. So Pattaya Soy and 5 or Pattaya Soy 4 and 5 alleyway at Siam Oriental was the name of the building over there. And the parking, I think they had maybe 15 parking spots. It wasn't underground; it was underneath the main level. And then they had about 10 motorbike parking spots, and everybody else had to park on the streets, and that's just the way it was. And you had to. It wasn't first come, first serve. They rented the parking spots per month, so you had to get a pass, and the passes were first come, first served. The management company there was horrible. You know, they didn't give priority to the owners of the condos there. Whoever came in and rented a spot to park in there got that parking spot. So there may be a guy across the street, the building across the street, that had a parking spot in your building that they rented. Okay. And then you living in that building had to park on the street. It's a horrible system. So I don't know. That's not the way. But here in my building, for instance, every owner's, you can have one car here and you can have one motorbike. Okay. Yeah. So that's the way it goes. And in a place like Park Beach across the street, they have 5 levels of underground parking. Now, in all honesty, like the 5th level down, I think it's flooded. So, but nobody parks down. Nobody parks on the 3rd level down. I think the first 2 levels, you know, and there's plenty of parking over there. But and then the RM, they have the automated system where the computer parks for you. You pull your car into a bay, and then they have a valet, a guy who operates everything, and the computer takes your car and puts it in a certain spot. So that's pretty cool. And a lot of these buildings are going to that type of a system as well. But Wongamat Tower, that's right there, has a parking garage right in this side of the building, and it's like let's see here, I think it's 7 levels of parking. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, right there. And and they have plenty of parking. You can look in it. I can see in there right now, and they have plenty of parking. So talk about that too much, right? Let's see here. Spot on. The bars right now basically empty. Yeah, 10 girls to 1 customer. It's a great. Yeah, you know, I ended up. I met my brother Doug and Tim for dinner last night. Ended up going out last night. Was out way too late. That's not my norm, but we do have a guys' night out tonight. Okay, so we're going to be out and about, and I don't know if Doug's on here or not right now, but where are we going to go? We're going to go to LK or something like that. So if you're on LK tonight, we'll be out and about. Okay. Anyway, so let's see here. Today's Saturday, so yeah, and last night I went out, so I'm probably done for the week after that. I don't know, maybe Wednesday or something like that, or maybe Taco Thursday. I like the buy one get one free margaritas at Taco Taco. So that's on Thursday. So we'll kind of weigh that out. I don't know if I can afford it. I have to stay on budget. That's what I keep talking about. Oh, I break fingernail. Can I have $100? Yeah, yeah. It it's amazing what these girls come up with. I get it all the. My favorite thing anymore is, hey, it's my birthday. Can you buy me a gift? And I look at the last time I've even seen this person. It was like 2.5 years ago. you know, um, yeah. You know, Jumping back to when I was in the bar business. Okay, um, the girls would tell me all the time when they were short on money. They would ask maybe 20 guys for, let's say, 200 or 300 baht each. Okay. And then, so they'd have this one sob line that didn't include anybody's name. And they would send out this message to 20 different guys. And, you know, uh, they needed money. They were, probably the best line that any girl can do is they can just, say, oh, they're sad. They're so hungry. They haven't eaten in 2 days or something like that. And they just need to get something to eat. And if somebody can spare 200 baht or something like that. Okay. So that this girl will send out that message to, let's say, 20 guys. And probably 50% of those guys are going to send her money. These are people that have sent money in the past. It's not new guys, okay? It's people. These are people that consistently send money over time. So these guys are going to say, "Oh, 200 baht. What's that? $5-6? I can afford that." And then they look in their account that they have a Thai account or something, and they think, "Oh, let's just send her $20, so 600 baht." Or let's send her 1,000 baht or whatever. I haven't used this money in a long time. I'm not going back to Thailand for a long time. Let's just send her 1,000 baht. And these girls are relying on this here, that half of the guys that they send out this message to are going to send them at least 200 baht. Some are going to send them 1,000 baht, and they do this every day. So, and for us, we had a, we had at Nikki Bar, we had a party every week. Okay, so if it was the girl's birthday, we celebrated her birthday. We always had free food. Uh, Depending on the girl, depended on the music, but we always had a good time, and we made the girl feel special. Okay, now sometimes we didn't have a girl to have a party for, so we just said, and we weren't trying to be dishonest by any means. Maybe thinking about it now, but we would just we'd say, it's your birthday on Saturday. We're going to have a party. Even though her birthday may be for 6 months away. Anyway, and we would celebrate her birthday again. And she was thrilled because she would get money on the money chain and that type thing, and we'd have a good time. But it was always a way to bring people into the bar. So, and a lot of bars do that type of thing. So, and with that being said, they'll send out this message, hey, it's my birthday. Can you send me money so I can buy a cake, or things like that. So these sob stories really happen. I mean, and they're much worse than that. Those are just so on my bar, I was fortunate. So I only had my bar for 3 years. Okay, but when I took over my lease, I didn't have to pay key money because they just paid key money, and the key money was based on 3 years. All right. So I was very fortunate on that end there. But in my bar, for instance, the key money would have been 1,000,000 baht. Okay. So $30,000. Let's just call that 30,000 US dollars would have been the key money on my bar. Now, sometimes key money is reduced sometimes depending on how much money you pay in rent. So if you can't afford key money, a lot of bars will pay more in rent per month. So I think I use this as an example, and I'm no authority on this. And I think Mac was talking about in one of his videos recently that his current bar, he's paying like $80,000 a month for that. Okay, but he has several floors and everything else with that in mind. But so 80,000 is a lot, okay, to be paying. And there's lots of places that are paying 100,000 or more. If your bar is really doing good, your rent's going to cost more. Okay, so I can only imagine the key money if the bar's, let's say 80,000 or 100,000 a month, probably your key money is going to be maybe 2 to 3 million baht. So and it depends on whether it's every year, every 2 years, every 3 years. Normally, that's 3 years is a pretty standard amount of time for key money. But there are certain places, if it's high traffic areas and that type of stuff, you're probably looking at either yearly or every 2 years for key money. I hope that answered your question there for that. It used to be where people run to Cambodia. Yeah. Yeah, that's I have a new video coming out about, and I was talking to guys last night about this here, getting additional ideas, but have a new video coming out about things that I've changed in my life since coming to Thailand. Okay, and so we'll have that video coming out here soon anyway. But and the common things are like taking your shoes off before you go into a property. Okay. And, but one of the big things for me is it's common for me to drink beer with ice, and, yeah, it took me coming to Thailand to really, zoom in on that. I mean, last night I was at a go-go, and they brought a beer out to me that the bottle was by touch cold, but the beer inside was warm. And you spend 160 baht, so that's what $5, $6, whatever that is, for this beer, and you have to drink it with a glass of ice. Is that right? Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. But you're going to get to know there's certain places like Mike at Chicken Coop or places like that talk about having the coldest beer in town and that type of stuff, and they're always got cold beer. So yeah, it's amazing what you put up with depending on where you go with things like that. And what other things have you changed? That's a good thing. Put it in the comment section there below. Since you've came to Thailand, what are the things that you've changed in your life? Right now, I have like 13 items on that video will come out probably next week. But anyway, maybe I'll add your item too. So let's see here. Yeah. JD, it's your birthday. Well, yeah. and of course, so JD's on here. We did a video on his pool villa in Jomtien, so you guys definitely check that out. See how the different style of life lives, and the guys that like a lot of room, yeah, I live 48 square meters, and JD he has like 200 square meters, so that's crazy. So, for me, this question about why did I give up the bar? Okay, so I knew that having a bar was not my long-term goal, and and a lot of it had to do with my wife at the time, and so coming back here to Thailand, my wife told me before we got our divorce is if we would have never came back to Thailand, more than likely we would still be together. Okay, but uh, my goals in life were to retire here. Okay, and yeah, so you have to kind of figure out if you if you want to be in a relationship like that, you have to figure out what you want versus they want, compromise, and make a good decision, right? So, and she told me, before that she didn't really want to come back here, but if she did, she would open a bar. Well, and to me, it was too much work. We made a lot of money, don't get me wrong. And then we had the pandemic coming up, and you could see the writing was on the wall. Okay. Um, and all the bars around us were dead, and we still had customers. So we were milking it right to the end. Uh, but I ended up, I caught my wife cheating. Okay. The short end of that is, I think we touched on that, last week, right? Caught my wife cheating. And then, is Rick on here? So there's a guy by the name of Rick Parsons. Maybe I shouldn't have said his last name. I don't know. So Rick, he came from the U.S. Yeah. Am I giving out too much information? Maybe. Anyway, so Rick comes into my bar, and him and his girlfriend, Thai girlfriend, and he was hanging out. I didn't know him at the time, right? And he hanging out all day. And at the end of the day, he comes up and says, "Hey, I was getting ready to go. I always left like at 1 o'clock in the morning, right?" And he comes up and he says, "Hey, he wanted to talk to the owner that he was interested in buying this bar." And so I told him the bar wasn't for sale, and he was like, "Oh no, everything has a price." He was one of those guys there that the right amount of money buys anything, right? So, and basically, he made an offer to me. Um, uh, he gave me a cash offer, okay, and we ended up settling on it. I sold my part of the bar, okay, so I owned 50% of the bar at that point. My wife owned the other half of it, and that created all kinds of mass confusion and everything. But I was able to cash out of my portion of it prior to the divorce, and we had our divorce here in Wongamat court during the pandemic. That's a whole nother story. But and I got really lucky. So I made money prior. I got all my money back, all my investments back out of the bar, plus some. Um, Made money on the bar. He knew the pandemic was coming on. My ex-wife ended up, Rick, jump on here, ended up buying him out, and I think he made money too. So yeah, and then the bar ended up closing. Akara is a hotel in town across from the space. So my bar was on Soy 33, some. It was right across from the old where Tino was before. Um, anyway, a car came in and bought out that whole city block, and they knocked down my building. Uh, so then Rick and my ex ended up reopening the bar out on Naklua Road, and I think they did okay. But then Pattaya again project came in, part of Terminal 21 and Grand Center Point, all that over there came in, and they knocked down those buildings, or they renovated those buildings, yeah, and got rid of all the bars. Okay, so that's what ended up happening with as far as Nikki's was concerned. Okay, so that would I ever do it again? I would would open a bar again if I had the right location. That's number one. All right, Da, my old manager Da, she's still living here in town, and she tells me every time I see her that she's ready to go. You know, but I know she married an English guy, I guess, right? So, and she travels some too. So who knows if that would really work out? But yeah, but I would do it again. Um, yeah, I might be open to maybe flipping the right location. Does that make sense? Yeah. Or if somebody's interested, and I'm not a big partner guy, you know. So if somebody's interested in something, as long as they don't mind going through lawyers to nail down everything, I'd be interested in that. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Let's see, JD. Yeah, what's up with that? Let's see. It's bedtime. Okay. Hey, Big Slick. Sorry about that. And I'll tell you what. In the next few days, I'm going to try um, a midnight live stream. Okay. I don't know how many people will get, but I'm going to try a midnight. I had, I think, 3 different guys talk about this here. So is that going to work? If it's midnight here, it's like 12 o'clock, let's say in Central Time in the U.S. So, and I don't know what time it'd be in Europe, but so these guys felt like that might be a better time to do a live stream. But I definitely have to sit down and get on YouTube University and figure out this live stream better, because every time I get on here to go live, I have a hard time figuring out how to do it. So, and I may end up just going back to my phone, because I think the phone has a better camera, number one, and I have more mobility. Um, so, or I have to, I don't know, I don't want to invest in a bunch of lights out here, but you know, somebody else brought up about doing a live stream at a bar. You know what the problem with that, from what I understand? Uh-oh, there's a loud motorbike. Let's see here. Oh, that's so. Normally, Night Flight would be on here, but that's Night Flight coming in right now. That motorbike. He has a let's see, he has an X Max, and he has a special muffler on there, that room 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 type thing. But yeah. So anyway, normally he's on here, and he's a, yeah. So Night Flight. Yeah. Anyway, he's a good guy, but I just saw him coming in. He lives right across the street. So let's see, Soy 6 bar. You know, I have right now, I have, for the members only area, I have a Soy 6 video that I didn't blur out any of the girls on the street. Okay. It was like a 5-6 o'clock in the evening video, and it got a adult content flag right away. But I just did an appeal on the YouTube decision, and I think I can put it in the members only area, and it won't have any, even though it's monetized for, if you're a premium YouTube member, it monetizes that way, but it won't have any ads on it. Okay, so it's not monetized as far as watching ads and that type of stuff. So if you're a member, a level 2 member in the members only area, you can watch that video, and that's gonna. I'll try to get it up today, maybe today or tomorrow, something like that. But anyway, that's right there. So there's other, in the members only area, there's other videos like that as well. But there's so many new bars happening on Soy 6, and I need to get down there and talk to the managers and find out, or the owners, what the rent prices are up to now. I bet they're 60,000 up for sure. Yeah, just crazy amounts of money. If you know how much they are, put them in the comment section below. Okay, so yeah, I was doing the live streams on my phone, and maybe that's what I probably ought to stick with. I like the nice thing about this. I like the flexibility of this webcam, but I think the clarity and everything of the phone cam is a lot better. So the phone uses all the regular lighting around me, and this one here, even though I have a ring light, you can't see it, but there's a ring light on this camera. It's just not bright enough, or not bright enough. Let me try to. Yeah. Did that change the color any? I don't know. That light's ridiculous. Maybe I need another light right here. I don't know. I have to play with that, right? So, if you just start out doing live streams on your phone, yeah, that's what I have to stick with. You're right. And it seems if you're a YouTuber and they have a female vlogger, everything is okay. yeah, right. And by the way, it's an interesting issue for live stream. Might all tourist visas, Thai citizens, U.S. Huh. All right. So, yeah. So let's see here. Who put this in here? Dash cam, simps. I guess I have to look that up. I don't know what does that word mean. Yeah. Fabian, hello, Fabian. I saw you in there before. Let's see here. All right. Should I try? Let's see here. Yeah, we're out here. Yeah. Okay, Tim. We'll see you. I get it. Uh, and yeah, I've noticed that. So Titanic says he's noticed that the air conditioners have been turned down, and a lot of these bars, the electric bills, for instance, and it's always been that way. My electric bill at Nicky's probably averaged 6,000 to 8,000 baht a month. You know, and we had air cons that were on the back sides, but we had 4 coolers altogether. We had a full kitchen as well, although we didn't serve food, but we had coolers back there and that type of stuff. The kitchen there was for a potential opening up as having bar snacks and things like that. We never got into that though. But yeah, so a lot of places in an effort to try to save money are turning off the air conditioners, and we were in, what bar was it just recently over on Soy Chapun, Soy Pothole. We were sweating, inside these closed bars. It's ridiculous, but that's what they're doing. There's no customers here, so the money's not here. So yeah, it's crazy. Let's see here. Jesse should have deep connections in the community over time to have a shot at being successful. All right. So I was talking about certain people that come to your bar. If you're successful in your bar, people are gonna notice this. And certain people within the community, okay, are gonna come in and find out what the buzz is about. All right. And so do you want to grease hands? And well, what you're going to do indirectly when certain people come in, as an owner, you're probably going to buy them a round of drinks, right? And they may in turn buy you and your staff a round of drinks. Okay, and so that's common, the friendly gesture. Okay, but when they get up and leave, um, the bin is absorbed to the bar. So the only so the, it is a win-win situation, probably. You know, um, these people that came in that kind of took advantage of you during that situation, um, you can use them for a future. If something comes up, well, according to this person, it's already been taken care of. Is the right answer. And a lot of these guys, and if you talk to bar owners, there's a good chance that a lot of these bar owners, and I have some in my desk in there, but have these white cards that are two-sided, and one side has everything in the Thai language, the other side has everything in the English language, and it may show a guy's name and maybe his rank and or position that he holds within the community per se, right? And and these cards are treated as get out of jail free cards. Okay, and yeah, and they're something that it's like if you've been here for any length of time, you more than likely have one of those cards. So yeah, so that happens all the time here. So let's see. Yeah, when we talk to the guys that are that come here to Pattaya, it's interesting that um, I've met some lifelong friends here. Okay, guys that I really trust with my life. But the thing is um, the group of friends that I have here is pretty small. Okay, but there's certain people that I just click with, and that I allowed in my inner circle, like the guys, for instance. Okay, but on the other hand, it takes a long time when people show up to learn what people are about. So you can't be super trusting right away. You have to kind of sit back and watch people's actions to know what their real um, intentions are. So I, we talk about the money situation all the time, and I don't know how many times I've seen, um, uh, I'm talking about Thai girls ask for money. Well, it's not uncommon for Flong men here, expats that have been here a long time, to owe 20 different people all over Pattaya a great deal of money and never pay them back. And I'll throw this one out there, and I've talked about this before as well. Uh, 2 years ago, I had a guy that I knew for a long time, and he was going back to the U.S. No plans on ever coming back to Thailand, and he needed to get rid of a motorbike. And so I gave him. Now this was a Click 125i. It was a new Click, and I gave him 20,000 baht for that, about $600. Okay, and I think I gave it to him all in U.S. cash, but we transferred it over and everything, and I had this motorbike, right? And I thought about I was keeping this motorbike as just an extra motorbike for when friends came to town, that they wouldn't have to rent one; they could just take it and have a good time, right? So anyway, so another friend of mine at the time comes to town, and now this guy I've known for a long time. I knew him in the U.S., but he was different. Okay. And he knew I had this motorbike, and he kept asking me about borrowing it. And I was kind of, because he's different, okay, to say the least, I was kind of iffy about loaning him this bike. But I eventually did. And so about 6 months goes by, and I haven't heard nothing from him, zero from him. And anyway, I send him a message online, and I say, hey, let's get together, let's have lunch or something or another, this, that, and the other. He doesn't reply. Okay. And, or maybe he replied and he was busy or tied up with doing something, seeing a girl, this, that, and the other. So, about 9 months later, I said, hey, I have friends coming into town. I need my motorbike back. Okay. And I think I also had registration that was due on it, that type of stuff. He sends me a message saying, hey, he has a copy of my green book, I think it was. And that he'll take care of the registration. If he please, he said he'll start paying me rent for the motorbike. And but he can't afford it right now because for some reason or another. Anyway, so I said, okay. So he's agreeing to pay me rent for the bike. Well, 2 months later, no money. I'm sending him a message about getting the motorbike back. He hasn't sent me anything. I haven't heard anything on the registration. It's already past due on that. And so I'm sending him another message. And the next thing I know, he blocks me online. Okay. So I ran over. He was staying out by Bangkok Hospital over by the bus station. And I ran out there. He moved. Okay. So this guy basically stole my motorbike. And I haven't seen it since. In 2 years, I haven't seen it. Okay. So this is somebody I've known all my life. You know, it's like, what the, but that type of thing happens, you know, and it's like, I have a buddy that lives in this building here that ended up loaning a guy that owned a business here in town, 2 million baht, $60,000. Okay. And the next thing you know, the guy's off in Dubai, and that was it, you know. So there's a lot of bad people here in this town. There's good people and there's bad, and you have to, you know, you have to keep your eyes open. You never know who you can trust. I mean, yeah, you have to be really wary about that type of thing. So, yeah, I try to say, you know, don't loan money to anybody. It's one thing if you come up to me and say, hey, I need a 1,000 baht to make it through the night. You know, tomorrow morning will show what your integrity is all about, whether you give me that 1,000 baht back tomorrow or not. But it's a whole nother thing when you start talking about big money. And I get it. You know, guys, they have an accident, they're in the hospital, and all of a sudden they need 100,000 baht. You know, can you afford to loan somebody 100,000 baht because they didn't prepare? They didn't have emergency cash for an unfortunate accident in the hospital. Things happen. Okay, that's for sure. Yeah, I did. I ended up going to the police. I had the guy's full name, this, that, the other. You know, I have a buddy down there at the police station, Golf. Shout out to Golf. Golf's the owner of Bamboo Beach Bar down here, right? So we talk about it every time I'm down there, but they haven't ever found anything on it. Nowadays, like my motorbike right now, and my car, and even Chloe's motorbike, I have air tags on them. Okay, so I can look, I can see where my daughter's motorbike is. She's in the Philippines. I know where it's at right here, you know, so as well as my motorbike. So that's a good option too. And it's not, so mine's the Samsung version of the AirTag. Okay, so but they work great. It runs off an app, and yeah. So if you're gonna get things like motorbikes or cars or anything like that, I highly suggest going with the air tags. Yeah, if you need any questions about that, you can send me a message, margaritasinparadise@gmail.com, and I can help you out there. That's it. I think that fall for my phone. I use Samsung. It falls under Smart Things. Okay, so it's pretty cool. Yeah. Let's see here. In May, June, and bars at various times. Soy 6, like 10 girls for each customer. Dunkin' bars, like 5 girls. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of bars. We were on Walking Street last night, and it's amazing to me because we were in and out of places, um, and we'd go into a place, scan the place, and then leave. And some places only had 2 or 3 girls on stage, and nobody out front. And then other places, uh, like Excess or something like that, would have maybe 20 girls out front and 300 girls inside. So um, it was interesting. One of my favorite places, Coco. Um, what's that off of? Soy 15, I think. Right down just short of Windmill and that. I was in there last night, and they have out front. They have like 10 girls, and they have a mix of both Thai girls and Russian girls. Okay, and then the inside, the stage was full. They have like 3 rounds of girls, and each round they have like 20 plus girls on stage, that type of thing. So that was pretty packed full of customers. And which one did we go into? Um, we went into Baccarat last night as well. And I would say, now that was one of the last bars, and they only had like 10 girls on stage, and they had nobody out front. So, yeah, that's the way it goes. And, one of our favorites there was, what's another one? Dragon. We like Dragon. But they didn't have anybody out front. And we looked inside. I was with somebody else. And I told them about this show they had late at night, and and we looked inside, and they had about 20 girls inside, but that was it. That was including on stage and the girls that were sitting with customers, and there wasn't a lot of customers in at that time. But it rained last night. That's another thing, So we had rain down there as well. But yeah, content. How do you say that? Joe Mary. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Um, yeah, that's the best. That's the best policy. Um, I always, when it comes to girls and that, if they want to really question you and that type of stuff, a girl will say, "Well, I'm so sad that you won't give me any money," and I'm like, I'd rather you be sad than me be sad when you can't give me the money back. So. And that's something in itself when you're talking about potentially if you're loaning money here uh, in Thailand, don't loan any money that you can't afford to give away. Okay, um, because if you get into the business of loaning money here in Thailand, well, potentially it's illegal for you to be loaning money in Thailand, right? And so I had a problem with that. um, and I don't know if I've ever mentioned this here. I had a girl. Now I'm going to throw this out there. Should I? Um, so I had a girl that I used to see that was on Soy 6, and all during the pandemic, um, I helped her out. I she had a car. You know what's a Soy 6 girl doing with a car? Okay, but she had a car, and she was making payments on it, and she was a popular girl on Soy 6, um, and so she could normally make those payments on the car, but then you get into the pandemic, and she had to go back home. She's from Nong Khai, and so she went back home during the pandemic, and she has this car, but she didn't have any money because even though she was making a tremendous amount of money, she did like all Thai women do. I shouldn't say all, but nobody plans for tomorrow. It's all about today, right? So, and she was the same way. Um, so she didn't have money to make those payments for the car. And during the pandemic, the foreigners that stayed here, I think, were flush enough with money. I just sold my bar, so I had extra money, that type of stuff. And so I helped her out by making those payments on her car. And then something else came up in the long run with her where she needed extra money. And she told me that she would pay me back. And, I didn't believe it, but she said, oh, yeah, she'll pay me back. As soon as she could, she would pay me back. Oh, so what ended up, we got out of the pandemic. She went back to work on Soy 6, but she needed 10,000 baht, okay, $300. And she said, if I don't pay you back, I'll give you 500 baht every time I'm late extra. Okay. I said, well, that sounds like a good deal, right? So anyway, so I loaned her the money, and the first month, no payment back. Okay. So there's another 500 baht. Fast forward, we get down, let's say 4 or 5 months down the road, let's say 6 months. Okay. And she hasn't made a payment yet. And she asked me, she said, well, how much do I owe you now? And I said, well, you owe me 13,000 baht, 500 a month that you haven't paid me yet, is what you owe me. And she said, oh, and we're sitting in her bar on Soy 6. I'm not going to tell you the name of the bar, but it's still there. Okay. And the next thing you know, and I'm there. So is Harry on here? Harry was with me. He can verify this. Okay. So the next thing you know, a man in brown walked in, if you know what I mean. Okay. Walked in right the front door, and he came up and didn't introduce himself, but he said, hey, he basically questioned me about this girl owing me money. And he basically told me that as a foreigner that I couldn't loan money, and that there's a maximum amount of money that you can charge as an interest, okay, which I didn't know anything about. And apparently it's like a maximum amount is 3%. Anyway, and everything that I was doing was off this girl volunteering. I knew better. Anyway, the man in brown basically told me that she doesn't owe me money anymore. He's forgiving her debt. Okay. And I was like, what? And yeah. And so when she came back in the bar, right away, the first thing she said, well, Tom, can I have a drink? And I'm like, no. And she's like, well, and she's like, it's already, I told her, I said, you stole money from me. And she's like, no, I didn't. She said, I borrowed it from you, but my friend forgave my debt. I don't owe it to you anymore. So that's the way things happen here. Okay. Is that the right thing for that to happen? No, but I'm just telling you, never loan money here. And if you are going to loan money, it's money that you can afford to lose, because there's a good chance that you're never going to get it back. Don't get me wrong. I have another friend of mine, May. Every time she asks for any money, I normally give it to her within a week or two, she always gives it back to me. But on the other hand, May, on the other hand, uh, normally within a few days, she wants the money back again, because that's the norm of life here. All right, I'll get off that subject. I always, yeah, yeah. What's money? I tell them I have to ask. Yeah, so that's a good idea. So you have to ask your wife if you can loan some money to this girl, right? Yeah, that's a good idea. Um, let's see here. Pretzel, appreciate your content. Vacation Thailand. I should bring cash, exchange for baht. Uh, yeah, if I were you, um, when I was coming here every other month, uh, I always brought, in all honesty, I always brought about 10,000 US dollars in cash with me. Um, I felt comfortable with that. I didn't carry it all in one spot. I never got questioned about it or anything like that. Somebody was just mentioning about having money when you come into Thailand. I think you're supposed to have like 20,000 baht available for your travels in Thailand. And I think that's a technicality type rule. I've never heard of anybody ever being asked that before. Um, but I would think that if you had it in a credit card or something like that, that would work as well. But I've never been asked that. But yeah, and so we were talking about the Schwab card, and I think I'll put it in the comment section later on for a link for that Schwab card. But that's the way to go. Schwab or Fidelity, they have a debit card where they refund all your fees. So you don't have foreign transaction fees and you don't have ATM fees. Uh, so that's the best way to go. Doug and me were just talking, and Titanic was talking just last night about using Wise versus Remitly and Western Union as well. I think we all use those in a certain amount. Uh, so Remitly is a good. I think Doug was talking about that's what he uses, and so the difference between Wise and Remitly, Wise, they generally give you the best rate, maybe higher than what the exchange rate is. International exchange rate is, let's say, yesterday it was like 33.42, and Wise was offering 33.62. Okay, um, so but Wise, what they do is whatever amount of money you're transferring, they take a percentage of that amount. Is where they make money on that as well. Versus Remitly, they have a standard flat fee for transactions, let's say $1.99 or something like that. And then, but they give you a discounted rate for your exchange rate, so they make money on that. So, like yesterday, if you're using on, say, your source of the income was your bank account, but you were using, let's say, just a regular transfer from your bank account, which is normally 3 to 6 days, or if you use your debit card, then you can get the money instantly. But still, the exchange rate, it was like 32.83 or something like that. So that's where they make the money, and giving you a poorer exchange rate. Now what we're talking about, for the most part, if you're transferring $5,000 or less at a time using Wise, Remitly, um, or even Western Union are definitely the ways to go. If you're transferring more than that, if you're going to buy something big like a house or something like that, then using a SWIFT wire transfer through a main bank like Bank of America or something will probably be cheaper, so you can definitely look at that. I did a video on that as well. So, what do you say to immigration regarding the $10,000? Well, what I don't understand, what do you say to immigrations about that? So you're talking immigrations or customs in the U.S. or immigrations in Thailand? Um, yeah, that's so coming into Thailand, um, I think you can bring in up to 20,000. Okay, so leaving the U.S., it's $10,000 or less that you don't have to report to customs before leaving the U.S. If you're taking out more than $10,000, then you have to report that amount. I've never done that, um, so I don't know the process on that. That's probably an AI search or something like that. Um, but then coming into Thailand, it's 20,000 US dollars coming in that you can bring in. So, and I've never done that either. So, um, now I've transferred more than that, um, but coming in physically on a flight, normally, I mean, even I shouldn't say even today, but for the most part, when I travel and I'm coming back from the U.S., I probably have 10,000 on me. So, and then if I need extra cash or anything, I use my Schwab debit card. So that's my recommendation on that. Let's see here. Jesse, my friend, forgave my debt. How did the friend know she owed the money in the first place? Yeah, yeah, and you're probably right. It may not have been, you know, in my book, if my friend, this person may have stopped by the man in Brown's apartment after she got off work. Who knows? So things happening. This is Thailand, all right? What they say. There was a famous uh, journalist here that used to everything was tits or tit, right? This is Thailand. This is Thailand stupid. Yeah, tits. And somebody in Bangkok, he was the guy that did all the cartoons and everything, and I think he signed tits to everything. But this is Thailand stupid. So yeah, um, yeah. So yeah, 2 to 3 thousand. That, that's a good amount. That's 100,000 baht. And then using ATMs. Yeah, that's the way to go. No doubt about it. The main thing, there's lots of options when it comes to debit cards or even credit cards with cash advances and that. You want to make sure that you're using one that doesn't charge foreign transaction fees. Um, you know, you don't. So the tips when you're at an ATM, you don't want to take their conversion. If they ask if you want to, let's say you want to take 20,000 baht out of an ATM, okay, and then at the end they're going to ask you, we'll give you this rate. Can we convert it right now? And you're going to not accept that and take your bank's conversion rate because your bank's going to be a higher conversion rate, right? So you're going to make more money if you use your bank. But on the other hand, let's say you're at a restaurant or you're going shopping at Terminal 21 and you're going to buy whatever, okay? And they may ask you, do you want this purchase? If you want this purchase charged in the local currency or U.S. dollars, okay? The correct answer every time is the local currency. Okay, so if you don't do that, there's a thing called I think it's called like DCC, dynamic. I can't remember what it stands for. Dynamic something or another that goes into play, and you're looking at if you have that amount charged in US dollars, you're looking at all kinds of additional fees, like maybe up to 10% in additional fees, which, you don't want to go that route. So if you're using your credit card or debit card or whatever, always go with the local rate here. Okay, unless you're at an ATM and then you want to have your bank do the conversion, okay, in the US, not locally. Does that make sense? All right. Yeah. Try to make a note of that. Let's see here. Let me get caught up there. Rent a condo in Bangkok. Spend 6 months a year there. I'm considering spending a few months in Pattaya. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm assuming you've already been down here, right? Bangkok's pretty, it's not my cup of tea, but I know there's a lot of people, that people that love New York, for instance, like Bangkok, and Bangkok's exciting because it's different, but it's so congested. And I would, when I go up there, a lot of times I do drive up there, and I used to take my motorbike with me and then drive around Bangkok on my motorbike. But trying to find parking for a motorbike is just super hard in Bangkok. So I don't do that anymore. And then you're stuck walking everywhere. And if you're a walker, that's okay. I'm a walker, but it seems like Bangkok is so much hotter than it is here. I'm used to the ocean breeze all the time and everything. So I don't know. I mean, the infrastructure here in Pattaya is exactly what I need, but a lot of people need I don't know what it is about Bangkok. A lot of people need Bangkok, Normally, the air quality in Bangkok is less. It's hotter in Bangkok. Streets flood, congestion, traffic. It takes forever to, let's say you're going to go 2 kilometers. It may take 30 minutes to get that far. So everybody likes different things, so definitely come to Pattaya, check it out. Let's see here. Did you hear about, Tony, 2 Russian kidnapped and killed near Pattaya? No, I didn't. Is that something that's just recent? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Dynamic currency conversion. Right. I appreciate it. That's what it was. So, yeah, I haven't heard about are these kids or, yeah. Yeah, I haven't heard about that. But, hey, if you haven't done so already, please make sure that you give me a thumbs up for the live. And, yeah. The algorithm pushes this out for a couple days after, and live goes, live happens, and it gets pushed out. But the algorithm kind of hits everything on the thumbs ups. Okay, so if you haven't hit the thumbs up, please hit the thumbs up. Yeah, I don't know. To me, I hit thumbs up for everything, but I've been doing this long enough that I appreciate, you guys do what you do. I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on and listening to me. Like I say, what do you guys think about? I had some guys in the U.S. that said, hey, for me to do a live stream at, say, at midnight, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, my time, so they have a better chance of watching the live stream wherever they're at. So if I do that, do I want to do that on the weekends, or do I want to do it during the week? I don't know. Yeah. Boy, camera's right here. Yeah. I'm sorry. I feel like this camera is, yeah, everything's backwards. See, behind me. Yeah. Okay. It's and the camera's reversed everything, right? So everything's opposite the way I'm looking at it. So anyway, yeah, that's let's see, what about 9:10 p.m. Thai time? Okay. Yeah, what part of the world are you in? Is that Jesse? Yeah, 9:10 p.m. You know, so I looked this up on AI, and they basically said that I should pick a time between 6 and 9 p.m. Pacific time. Gives everybody okay, so you're Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so I'm going to make a note about that. Um, yeah. Okay, well, anyway, here in the next day or two, I'll schedule a live feed for, um, yeah, I'll try to figure out what the best time is, probably around 10. Um, yeah, and we'll try to work that in, and I have a bunch of other stuff kind of going on. You know, the local things, what's going on here. This is August 1st, so I don't know how many of you guys have been here in Pattaya, but one of the things that takes place today is so the police have all these different divisions: traffic and public affairs, this, that, and the other. Public affairs or special public affairs officers take care of parking, okay, and parking on Beach Road. Specifically, they've eliminated all the motorbike rental agencies parking vehicles on Beach Road effective today. Okay. And so I go for my Friday lunch with the guys down to Royal Garden Plaza, and they have a whole area in front of Royal Garden Plaza that that has public parking there, but it's always completely full of rental motorbikes. And if a spot opens up, the rental motorbike company representative comes out and chases you away from parking in that spot, even though you legally probably could park there. But, you know, doing the right thing at the right time, you know, you want to make sure if you leave your motorbike in a place that somebody's unhappy with it and you turn your back on it, maybe your motorbike will disappear. So, yeah, don't do anything stupid. You know what I mean? But anyway, so now they made them get rid of all these rental motorbikes off of Beach Road. So that's one of the things. Okay, and so I did a video. Somewhat I talked about that a little bit in my ride along vehicle for yesterday. And another thing, they have new signs up. So the old Mina area of just off of Walking Street at the end of Second Road, going all the way out to the entrance to Pratamac Hill Road. So that was the Mina. That was where all the Arabic and those folks mainly stayed for the most part. And that's kind of with the war in Iraq and everything else, it's made it tough for those guys to travel in general. So the Indian nationals have kind of really taken over that area. And so one of the common things that you see, what's the most common thing about Indian nationals that you see? What's the thing that, well, you know, walking down the middle of the road, okay? And so for whatever reason, I was at Cat's massage there in Naklua, and there were some Indian guys in there, and I was talking to them, and I asked them about this in a polite way. You know, I said, "Hey, what's up with all of these Indian guys walking hand in hand right down the middle of the road?" And they're like, "You know what? In India, that's what they do, and they're just used to doing that. They figure that people can't afford to hit them, because if they hit them, then they have to pay their family a lot of money, you know, that sort of thing. and that's the way it is. But they just forget about where they're at, you know. So they're not in India; they're in Thailand. And the real thing is that nobody wants to hit anybody, you know. But on the other hand, a big bus may not be able to see people, you know, that type of stuff, or a truck. Yeah, so you don't want to count um, on traffic avoiding hitting you, because yeah, it's not that it happens all the time, but it happens, and so you don't want to count on that. So now in that area, they put up street signs, okay, saying use the what do they call it in Europe? Pathway. Yeah. Use the footpath. Use the footpath. So in the U.S., we call them sidewalks. Okay, but yeah, you know, living in Thailand's an education. Um, there's no doubt about it. Um, you know, I get reminded constantly from the guys from the UK, from England, about the way uh, the U.S. has butchered the English language, and then my pronunciation of a lot of words probably isn't spot on for most English teachers. So anyway, it it's crazy, and so the footpath they want. I mean, in that area, both sides of the roads have sidewalks. Okay, and but nobody uses them. All right, they just walk down the middle of the road, and it's like 6 lanes of traffic there. Plus, people are double parking, and traffic in general in Thailand very congested, and you really have to, if you know, I talk about if you're going to cross the road in Pattaya, like on Beach Road or something like that, you have to almost cross the road terrified. You know, you have to be scared, because um, I don't care if it's a bus or a truck or a car or a motorbike. Uh, most people on Beach Road feel, and Flongs, Westerners are even worse at it. They feel like they have the right of way, and technically they do. Okay, the bigger the vehicle, uh, everybody else has to get out of their way, and I've heard this many times. I have a friend of mine that says all the time they have brakes. He walks out in front of cars, you know, and he says they have brakes. You know, I'm not going to test that theory, but yeah, yeah, I don't know. No sidewalks in India. Well, there you go. Okay, you know, um, yeah, they like to walk in packs. So when I lived in Saudi Arabia, um, everybody walked like that too, hand in hand, their arm around each other, and I've never been um, that touchy feely when it comes to that type of friendship. Okay, so yeah, um, there's signs. Yeah, and police boxes. Oh, you know that's hit and miss whether there's going to be anybody there or not. You know, so and somebody came up with an idea and put in all those police boxes like on Beach Road. How often do you ever see police in the police boxes? I don't know. I'm not complaining about police in general here. Okay, um, you know, in my opinion, I worked law enforcement most of my life, right? And I would hate to be a cop anywhere in the world right now. The eyes are on cops, right? And whether it's body cams or whatever, uh, I really feel for those guys. That I salute them. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, for sure. Uh, yeah, it's crazy. So anyway, where are we at here? Oh, I'm coming up on the 2 hour mark, guys. I appreciate you sticking in there. Um, I had a whole list of things that I was supposed to go over. I never really looked at this list. But let me throw out as kind of a closing note here. Um, this is on this video I was talking about, things that I do now since moving to Thailand. Okay, and so the number one thing, and if you think about that, um, if you think about that, if you have something that I'm not mentioning here, definitely put it in the comment section below. Maybe I'll throw it in the video because I'm not completely done with it yet. Okay, so let's see, leaving shoes at the door. Everywhere I go, I make my friends take off their shoes before coming into my condo. If you ever come over here, same. Okay. Uh oh. I bet that's Mike. Oh, that's a vlog. Now that's on a like a 300 or something like that. One of the crotch rockets. Okay. But anyway, oh, the bum gun. Yeah. The little spray hose, the spray bidet here. I mean, that's standard. The thing about the bum gun is that after living here or staying here for a certain period of time, and I still had my home in Clinton, Missouri. Okay, I ended up installing these bum guns, and I had 5 restrooms. Okay, toilets. Um, yeah, yeah. So I ended up, yeah, I took them back with me too because you couldn't find the right ones and you needed them long enough. So let's see here. So I'm constantly, when I go back to the U.S. or wherever I go, and you see these vendors, I always my own cop coon cop. I'm always saying that. So what does that mean? Um, and basically it means I don't want that. No, thank you. Okay, but I do that even in the U.S. anymore. And if I meet anybody in the U.S., there's a good chance that I'll say Swati Cop, or a girl brings something to the table and it's Kap Kun Kap. Thank you. I'm just so used to the Thai language anymore that it bleeds over everywhere I go. Okay. Um, uh, Here, we have these little bitty ants. Somebody said they're like sugar ants or something like that. Little bitty ants, and they're everywhere. And I bring this ant gel that I from the U.S. and I put it down to kind of control them. But it's constantly on my hot pot. I have coffee every morning, right? And the ants crawl around on the hot pot and they get into the water. And then I turn on the hot pot and it cooks the ants. And the next thing, it used to be I would be picking out all these ants, but anymore, I just drink coffee with ants in it. So, yeah, eating rice with your fingers. I don't know. Do you guys do that? Do you eat with your hands? And if you go to the Philippines, you really start. Yeah, a lot of things. Ice in my beer. Okay, that's another one. Okay, how about how often do you shower? You know, uh, yeah, So yeah, and to me, I shower. I would say on average of 3 times a day. If I get hot, I'm going to take a shower because that's a way to cool down, obviously. But I shower before I go to bed. I shower when I get up in the morning, and probably during the day, if I go work out or something like that, I shower again. So in the U.S., yeah, I don't know. Yeah, 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 yeah. You know, not with my hands. I use spoon or fork, and that's the way most people do. But um, if you've been here any length of time, especially you go to Isan, and you grab into the sticky uh, rice pot with your hand and take out a big handful. And there's been 10 other hands in the sticky rice pot that they made the sticky rice that morning, but they've been eating out of it all day long. And many hands have been in there. Okay. Uh, and then they sit there and they roll up the sticky rice. And yeah, it's pretty constant. They're consistent here in Thailand. That's the way they do things. So, um, I talk about this here too. I carry toilet paper in my back pocket everywhere I go, and and lots of my friends do the same thing, and some friends even carry wet wipes and that type of stuff. But toilet paper is constant. If you need to use toilet paper when you go use the restroom and you're out, I would say 90% of public restrooms do not have any type of toilet paper. Okay. Now, if you go to a public restroom like Terminal 21 or something like that, more than likely they're going to have toilet paper. But if you go to Big C Extra or something like that, nah, doubt it. I doubt it. So, yeah. Um, Navigating traffic, you know, it's chaotic. And, you know, Captain Gyro gives me heck all the time about me weaving in and out of traffic and that type of stuff. In the United States, in the U.S., I didn't ride a motorbike. I learned to ride one here, and it seems to come natural to me. I've only had one accident, and that was during Songkran about 14 years ago. I've been what I consider to be pretty lucky, but yeah, that goes. But you know, you're when you're in traffic, whether you're in a car, a motorbike, and it's a steady stream of traffic, you have to be able to read traffic and be able to. When there's a let's see here, what motorbike is that? When there's a spot available to pull out, you need to go. Okay, and if you don't take a chance and pull out, even if there's cars 50 meters away or so, you may be holding up a lot of other people. So you can't sit there and go at your leisure. Okay, you have to be able to pull out, and I shouldn't say take your chances. Okay, but it's kind of taking your chances, right? Um, yeah. Uh, yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, so um, how many of you guys drink bottled water all the time? Would you consider drinking water from the tap or the hose? Like in the US, I mean, that's what we can do, right? In Europe, can you drink water from the tap? I can't remember. I lived in Belgium for a while. I stayed in Germany for a while. It seems like we drink water from the tap, but in the US, we did as well. Um, yeah, but here, everything's bottled water. Okay, I have it delivered to the room here. You could get they have these osmosis purifiers and that type of stuff available. You can do that as well, um, but they're spending. So how many times you get a massage? You know, in the U.S., I would plan out maybe one massage a month. It would cost me back when I was doing it would cost me maybe $60 to $100, and then I'd have to give like a $20-$30 tip, right? And so here I get a massage every other day. What are these motorbikes today? Anyway, I get a massage every other day. Most of my massages cost, um, let's say $5 to $6, including tip. Okay, tipping is a whole nother thing. We'll get into that here in a minute. But so yeah, let's say on average, 3 to 4 massages a week is what I get. Okay, so that's something. Tipping, I generally leave a 20 baht tip for everything. Okay, but what I don't tip is like, so I'll leave a 20 baht tip at the bar, in the bar tab. Okay, or a 20 baht tip at a restaurant. Now, the exceptions to that is if there's a service charge, then I don't tip. All right. At one time, when I first started coming here, I was in the American thought process of, 20, 20%, 15, 20% tipping. And a lot of Americans come here and still stay with that, and my suggestion is that really, when it comes to tipping, be as generous as you can afford to be, and don't worry about what other people are doing. But in general, in Thailand's a non-tipping country. Thais don't tip. Lots of Europeans don't tip. If I'm telling you anything wrong, put it in the comment section below. And when I ended up getting married to Nikki, she kind of reeled me in after we got married. She said, you're done giving away my money. You can leave 20 baht if you feel like you have to, but as far as she was concerned, the price is what it is. Now, I don't tip taxi drivers, for instance, or that type of thing there. Waiters and maybe bar staff, that type of thing. So, and massage girls, certain places I only give a 20 baht tip for a massage. But if I go to For You Massage, which is the best massage in all of Pattaya, all right, that's Cat's place. I always give them a 100 baht tip. Okay. And it's just because I know all of them. I know the entire staff there, everybody there, and that's what I do. So I way over tip it. Okay. Other places that if I go to certain restaurants like Casa Pascal, where they have like a concierge desk, a hostess desk, a head waiter, a table waiter, that type of stuff. So you're probably going to be expected to tip the concierge desk, the hostess, all individually, the table waiter individually, and then you're going to leave a tip for the restaurant as well. So that's a different story. And then let's say if I'm sitting with a girl at a bar or go-go or something like that, normally if I had a good time, I'll give them a tip too, so, and normally no more than 100 baht, but sometimes it's only 50 baht or 40 baht, something like that. So, but there's lots of these guys that give a lot more. And with that being said, be as generous as you can afford to be. When I had my bar, I don't know how many times girls would come back to me and they'd been sitting with a customer all night long. Okay. And they would come back and they would, he just gave them a 1,000 baht tip or something like that. So right away, what these girls would do is they'd go back and they'd tell everybody that this guy, then they would call him a buffalo, Kwai. Okay. That's Kwai. It just gave me 1,000 baht tip. Okay. He doesn't know any better. He's stupid. Go hit him up for a tip. Okay. And you'll see that when you go to go-go's, this, that, and the other. If you leave a tip for a girl, more than likely the waitress is going to want a tip. The mama-san's going to want a tip. The security guys are going to want a tip. A door guy walking out. Last night I had a guy come up to me when I was leaving. Oh, can I have a tip? That type of thing. So once you get known for giving tips, everybody, they're leeches. Okay, they're all going to come at you asking for that type of stuff. So you do whatever you want, but that's yeah. I don't tip Grab or motorcycle taxis. Now, on the other hand, what I do, okay, I use them all the time because I don't drink or drive. Uh, uh, so let's say I take, like last night, for instance, I took a from Walking Street back here. I took a Bolt taxi, okay, Grab taxi, in a car, and the fee was 79 baht, and I just gave him 100 baht and told him to keep the change. Um, so that would be pretty standard for me if it's like that. But let's say there's a lot of times when I can take a Bolt motorbike taxi from here all the way down to Walking Street, and it's like 29 baht. Okay, so normally I'll give them 40 baht or something like that. Um, you know, that's all I'll give them. But there's other guys that will give them 100 baht. It doesn't matter whether it's how far it is or not. You know, lady drinks, that's a good example. Anymore, most lady drinks are like 240 baht per drink. So what's that at? About $7, $8 a drink, right? Yeah. Um, yeah. Security guys and asking for lady drinks, wait staff, mama sans. It's you have to learn to say no. You know, say no. I only buy for one lady. Don't allow a girl to bring her sister up. She hasn't had a drink yet. Yeah, that's constant. We hear that all the time, right? So yeah. What has Thailand changed in your life? You know, so probably the number one thing for me, and this is no secret, I came here for the girls, right? Nightlife, I became addicted to the nightlife, and I was used to. Um, I was married for 25 years, 156 days to who I felt like was the love of my life. Shout out to you, Lori. And today we're still great friends. We just fell out of love. That's what it was. And and she was the most beautiful girl in school. Blah blah blah. You know that she was that. You know she was everything. Okay. And but things changed, and as I got older, I didn't want to be around somebody that was 50 years. When I was 50 years old, I didn't want to be around somebody that was 50. I wanted to be around somebody that was 20. And so, is there anything wrong with that? Well, you know, you figured that out. But you know, here, I think in Thailand right now, you pretty much need to stay in the 20 years and up category. There's some workarounds between 18-year-olds, but you know, you figure that out. Look it up. Make sure that you're right. Don't be on the wrong side. If you think a girl's too young, I would highly suggest asking for their ID. And if they show you the ID, take a picture of it. Keep it in your phone. That way, down the road, if somebody says, "Hey, I saw you with this girl and she's only 14 years old," blah, 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 you can bring this up on your phone and say, "No, she was 19 or 20 or whatever she was, 21, 30 years old," you know, and you have proof. And yeah, don't get caught in the wrong with something like that. Yeah, don't. You know. So yeah, so that'd be probably the number one thing. I probably, um, you know, in when I first started coming here, in the first month, I probably went with more women than most men go with in 10 years. Okay. And now I've been here for 20 years, and I'm not a horrible person when it comes to this here, but uh, I live a great life. I mean, most people that are here for the same reasons why I'm here um, uh, do kind of work the same scenario, you know. So lots of guys come here and they want to find the love of their life and find somebody their own age. that type of stuff. That's perfectly understandable. Okay. For me, I have friends. Does that make sense? I have like 10 friends that I see. So, and some of you guys know some of my friends, like Amazon and Cat and One Sen, a new girl there, and Gay up in Chiang Rai, and so on. So and Gao too. Yeah. Anyway, um, yeah, life is good in Thailand. All right, let's see. Anything else before we go? 90 drinks. Do you feel there are more assaults and robberies compared to 5 years ago? Yeah, I don't. I think this is a super safe. Had a bird fly up here. Anyway, I think that Thailand in general is super safe. I did a video on this too. The guys that are looking for trouble are going to find trouble. But I'm not ever looking for trouble. I try to avoid it at all costs. And I know it's a lot easier to walk away from problems than to get yourself into problems. Personal pride and that type of stuff. You have to put that on the back burner. And because no matter what your status here as a foreigner, you're always going to be a guest in Thailand. Okay. You're never going to be Thai. So robberies and that, I don't see it. During the pandemic, I did something really stupid one time, and I wore a gold chain out, and I had a girl. I was on my motorbike. She grabbed my chain, ripped it off my neck, cut my neck open. Number one, I shouldn't have been wearing that gold chain out, especially during the pandemic. So I don't wear that anymore. And you hear about people losing gold chains and that people losing a gold chain worth 100,000 baht or something like that. I'm thinking to myself, what are you doing? Why are you on Beach Road at 4:00 in the morning with 100,000 baht gold chain on? Yeah, it's crazy. So, I don't know. If you look up Pattaya Mail or Pattaya News right now, was anybody that last night was a Friday night, tonight's Saturday night. You figure more people are in town now than at any time during the week. I doubt if I don't know. Maybe there was somebody that was robbed last night. I'm not sure, but I don't think it's the norm. That's something I'm not concerned about. 3-day rule. Yeah, that's a good rule. I would say that there's been times that I want to go. Let's say I want to drive to Phuket or something like that, and I'll take somebody with me. But more times than not, I never take anybody with me because I like to stop at all these small cities. I like to stop at bars, and I like to pick up people locally. People tell me all the time. I have my newest friend, Pai. I met her at Bangkok Hospital. She's a nurse's aide. All my friends used to say that I would never leave. It's kind of true. I would never consider leaving Bangkok Hospital without a phone number from at least a doctor or a nurse or a receptionist, somebody, So, and I'm not that bad anymore, but that was true at one point for me, And I only like to drive 3 or 4 hours at a time, so it takes me a long time to get anywhere. But I like stopping at these local places and enjoying the local culture, So, yeah, you pay them to leave. That's sometimes you have to do that. Yeah, for sure. And I enjoyed the stream much, Tom. Great stuff. Many thanks. Hey, I appreciate it, Jesse. And everybody else, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. If you haven't done so already, that thumbs up. Yeah, I appreciate it. That helps the algorithm. and hopefully later on, you get a lot of comments coming out of the chat and everything, and it helps me down the line. And in all honesty, I don't do YouTube for the money. Okay, I like the money. Don't get me wrong. I make money on it, but it's not a great deal of money. And most of the money that I put back into the channel with like this camera, which I thought was going to be better than what it is. But anyway, yeah, but I don't do it for the money. It's a hobby. I really enjoy doing it. I like telling you about my life here. I know there's a lot of things that if I go to a temple and that, a lot of people are not interested in that. And but I love the temples and I love the waterfalls. And if I find a really great restaurant, I want to share it with you. Okay, it's like somebody just asked me this last week. I didn't get back to them. I couldn't find the message. La Creamery. Have you heard about that? La Creamery? Oh my goodness. Turns out I think it's a Belgian couple of guys from Belgium, a family that has opened this shop, and they have one, I believe, on Pattaya. There's a big shop on Pattaya. There's one on the dark side, and now we have one in Naklua. Oh, it is unbelievable, and the prices are so cheap. Great coffee, great desserts and sandwiches and pizzas, and they even have beer, craft beer, that type of stuff. It's fantastic. You definitely have to check out that place. I put together a short yesterday on going there. That's a place to check out. There's no doubt about it. So yeah. So anyway, I enjoy doing this, and but on the other hand, uh, I definitely want that. I want you to consider giving me that thumbs up. Um, I appreciate it. And for all my videos, I want thumbs up. Okay, that's going to be it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I think it's been a couple hours, so and we're gonna I'll schedule something real soon about a one for, let's say, 10 p.m. I don't know when, maybe tomorrow night. I'm not sure. All right, we'll see you later. Bye bye. Oh, here I'll show you the ocean right now. Let's see here. And my pool. There's my pool down there. So I'm on the 8th floor. There's somebody in the pool. I'm on the 8th floor, and I used to live up higher, and I didn't like waiting on elevators, number one. And if something went wrong or we didn't have power, now we have emergency generator for this building, but if we didn't have power, like in Park Beach, and I had to walk from the 26th floor, going down wasn't a problem, but going back up, it wasn't a problem, but it wasn't great. Okay. So anyway, I didn't care for that. There's a whole bunch of other things, but I like this level right here. I'm above the mosquito line. Um, yeah. And a lot of times I just take the stairs. So it's good for my health. All right. Bye.